The King of Lies and the Challenge of Truth. Once upon a time, in a peaceful kingdom, there was a young boy named Leon who had a rare talent. He was so convincing that he could make anyone believe anything. But over the years, Leon became so accustomed to telling lies that he couldn't stop, even about small and unimportant things. At first, the villagers were charmed by his cleverness, but eventually they began to distrust every word that came out of his mouth. One day, Leon lied to his best friend Jules, telling him that the big annual market had been postponed to the following week. Jules, who had been eagerly looking forward to the event for months, did not rush to attend. But when he finally arrived at the marketplace, everything was over. He had missed the chance to buy a rare toy he had dreamed of owning. Disappointed and hurt, Jules realized that Leon had lied to him. Their friendship began to fall apart as Jules walked away, saddened by the betrayal. Leon also lied to Lady Elodie, the village seamstress, telling her he had seen a wild horse lurking near her workshop. Frightened, she closed her shop for the day. When she returned, she found that her precious fabrics had gotten wet from the moisture and were forever ruined. Unable to sell her finest creations for the village festival, she was devastated by the loss. Every lie Leon told brought trouble to someone else. The villagers, growing tired and hurt by his lies, stopped paying attention to him. Little by little, Leon found himself alone, with no friends or companions to talk to. Despite his loneliness, he couldn't stop lying, even when it made him miserable. Then one day, while wandering near the royal castle, Leon witnessed something incredible. A dragon, majestic and mysterious, appeared at the edge of the forest. It began to approach the village, and for the first time in his life, Leon felt no desire to lie. He was terrified and ran as fast as he could to the village to warn everyone. "A dragon is coming!" he shouted at the top of his lungs, but no one believed him. The villagers, so used to his lies, ignored his warnings and continued with their day. Even the royal guard shrugged off his cries. "Enough of your stories, Leon," the guard said sternly. "We have better things to do than listen to your tales." Desperate, Leon tried to convince a group of hunters near the forest. But once again, his words fell on deaf ears. No one wanted to help him warn the king. Eventually, Leon made his way to the castle. The king received him, but with a suspicious gaze. After all, Leon had lied to the court many times before. This time, however, the king decided to give Leon one last chance. "I will give you a challenge, Leon," said the king. "If you want to regain the trust of this kingdom, you must complete 3 tasks where only the truth will help you succeed. If you fail, no one will ever believe you again, not even me." Leon, with no other options, accepted the challenge. But he still didn't realize just how much these tasks would change him. The next day, Leon stood before the king, ready to hear about the trials that awaited him. The king, sitting on his stone throne, watched him closely before speaking. "Leon, to regain the trust of others, you must complete 3 tasks. Each of them will require you to tell the truth, and only the truth. If you succeed, the kingdom will believe you again. But if you fail, you will remain alone, and no one will listen to you anymore. Here is your first challenge." The king turned to one of his advisors, who unrolled a scroll. "Your first task is to help a child who has lost something important. But remember, you must be truthful at every moment, even if it is difficult." Leon left the castle, feeling both anxious and determined. On the road to the village, he saw a little girl crying. Her name was Amelie, and she had lost her cat, her only friend. She looked at Leon with distrust, knowing his reputation. "I've lost Minou. Can you help me find him?" she asked, sniffling. Leon's first instinct was to tell her he had seen the cat near the river, even though he hadn't. But he stopped himself. He remembered the king's words. Only the truth could guide him. So he answered honestly. "I haven't seen him, Amelie, but I'll help you look for him. We'll find him together, I promise." They began searching the village, and instead of giving her false hope, Leon told the truth every step of the way. They checked every corner of the village, and finally, near an old mill, they heard a meow. Minou was trapped behind some barrels, safe but stuck. Amelie, overjoyed, hugged Leon tightly. "Thank you, Leon. You told me the truth, and you kept your promise." Leon felt something shift inside him at that moment. He had completed the first task without lying, and it felt good. But he knew the hardest challenges were still ahead. Back at the castle, the king announced the second task. "For your second trial, you must reveal a hidden truth. Someone has been wrongly accused, and it is up to you to reveal the truth, even if it puts you in danger. Intrigued, Leon went to Lady Elodie's workshop, the seamstress who had suffered because of his lies. He learned that a villager named Bernard had been accused of stealing rare fabric from her workshop. He faced severe punishment if found guilty. But Leon knew that Bernard was innocent because it was his lie about the wild horse that had caused Lady Elodie to close her shop that day. With his heart pounding, Leon went to the village court, where Bernard's trial was about to begin. In front of the entire assembly, Leon took a deep breath and declared, "Bernard is innocent. It was my lie that caused Lady Elodie to abandon her shop that day. I made up the story about the wild horse. Bernard didn't steal anything." The villagers, shocked, began to murmur. The judge, impressed by Leon's honesty, dismissed the charges against Bernard. Lady Elodie, though still hurt by what had happened, thanked Leon for having the courage to tell the truth in public. Another wave of relief washed over Leon. He felt as though every truth he spoke was slowly repairing the damage he had caused. But one final task remained. "Your third and final task," said the king, "will be the most difficult. You must convince an entire group of people to believe in a truth no one wants to hear, and you can only rely on your sincerity." Leon immediately thought of the dragon he had seen at the edge of the forest. That huge and threatening beast was still approaching the village, but no one had believed him the first time. He knew that if he didn't act soon, it might be too late. He rushed to the village square and stood on a wooden crate. "Listen to me!" he shouted. "The dragon I saw is approaching the village. I know you don't believe me, but I swear to you, it's the truth." The villagers, still skeptical, began to laugh. But this time, Leon didn't back down. He stood tall and looked each person in the eye. "I know I've lied in the past," he said, his voice trembling. "But today I'm telling the truth. The dragon is real. If you don't believe me, come with me to the edge of the forest. I will show you the truth." A hush fell over the crowd. Slowly, a few villagers, moved by Leon's sincerity, began to follow him. Together they walked to the forest's edge, and there in the shadows of the trees they saw the enormous figure of the dragon, peaceful but awe-inspiring. The entire village realized that Leon had told the truth. For the first time in a long while, they trusted him. The king, who had witnessed the scene, smiled and signaled for Leon to return to the castle. "You have succeeded, Leon," said the king with a kind smile. "You've learned that truth alone isn't enough. It's the trust you earn by telling it that matters. From now on, you are free of your lies, and you have regained the trust of this kingdom." And so Leon, once the king of lies, became a young man respected for his honesty and bravery. He had learned that while the truth can be hard to tell, it has the power to save more than one life.